So, if you've been around for a while, you will know that last year I did a tea collection video, because who doesn't love tea? You know, I think a lot of bookish people also have a thing for tea. So, I did a tea collection last year, which I will link down below if you want to check that out. And I realised that since last year, my tea collection has changed a lot, and I've very much gone towards more caffeine-free teas. So if anyone was even interested in that video, let alone this one, but I thought I would redo my tea video. I'm not going to talk about the teas that I spoke about in the other one. There was more standard teas and more caffeine-based teas, so if you want to check that out, feel free to go there first. But this is just going to be the teas that I've acquired since then, namely the caffeine-free teas. None of these had caffeine in them. I'm not overly against caffeine. I'm not absolutely, I don't want to drink any. However, I do want to cut back, and there are a few different reasons for these, mainly health related, and also, you know, I am prone to anxiety, and I know a lot of people say that caffeine can really kickstart that for them. For me, I don't know if it does. If I had multiple, like 4 or 5 glasses of Coke, I would feel very on edge and anxious, but generally like a cup of tea or 2 cups of tea a day doesn't really seem to affect my anxiety. However, I have generally been trying to cut back on caffeine anyway, because I don't think it's particularly good for me and my just general self. I've been drinking, for example, nothing to do with tea, but just a hint, caffeine-free Coke tastes exactly like normal Coke. It's insane. And actually, I like the feeling of having a glass of fizzy. I like the bubbles. I don't think it's necessarily the caffeine. So I was a bit skeptical when I started drinking caffeine-free Coke that I'd realise actually it was a lot to do with the caffeine and I just didn't realise it, but it really isn't. It is exactly the same for me. Though I will say it's impossible to buy. I think it's just because the shops obviously don't stock it as much. So literally about 99.9% of the time when I try to buy caffeine-free Coke, there is none. However, yeah, a little tip if you're interested in cutting back on caffeine. And also to the teas. So I'll start with teas that I kind of class together because they are all the Asda's own teas. Now Asda, certainly my Asda, has an amazing selection of their own fruit teas. They're quite new, they are fantastic, and the flavours that I've got here are strawberry and forest fruits, rhubarb and custard, which is kind of one of my favourites, and wild berry, and they are just really lovely. And I think what's really nice about these teas is that they're not like a lot of herbal teas I think can be quite tasteless. These are not, and obviously, you know, rhubarb and custard is not really, I don't know, would you classify that as a fruit tea? I guess it's got rhubarb, right? It's got rhubarb. But they are all really tasty. The wild berry one I don't like as much. I think it has a kind of artificial berry flavour that reminds me a little bit of like berry yoghurt. I do like it, but it's probably my least favourite. And the strawberry and forest fruits are really nice as well. This one is often sold out, so I think it's quite a good seller. Though I will say I've had this in my cupboard probably for about 3 months now, and the bags, I don't know if you can see this, the bags have gone all a bit weird. I think they must have pieces of fruit in them or something that have gone a bit strange, and so now really taste of anything, so that's worth mentioning. I mean the date on them is until June 2020, but they don't seem to last very long. The berry ones have gone a bit like that too. That said, my tea cupboard is above the kettle, so I'm wondering whether the steam from the kettle has caused that to happen. But anyway, if you drink them fast, they're absolutely gorgeous. Then I have got some Morrison's teas. Now I will first start with this one, which, as you can see, I bought this at Christmas. It's the Morrison's The Best Winter Spiced Tea. This is the most expensive tea that I have in my collection. I think it cost about £4.50, and you only get 15 bags, so it's very expensive. And yeah, it comes in these nice fabric bags, and yeah, it smells really nice. But as you can see here, you get barely any tea in a bag. There's literally like not even a teaspoonful of tea, and as a result of that, it has no flavour at all. It's like drinking a cup of hot water with a slight smell to it. It's really disappointing. I was so annoyed because they were so expensive and I was expecting them to be really nice. Anyway, then I also have this one from Morrison's, which is spiced orange. Again, I got this at Christmas and I think it's probably more of a wintry tea. I haven't seen it in there for a while. I really liked this when I found it. In fact, this is probably the first fruit tea that I really got into. However, since I've been drinking the Asda ones especially, I found that this one doesn't have that much taste when you go back to it after drinking Asda ones. And also I really don't like ginger. I don't like ginger in food, I don't like ginger in tea, and this does have a lot of ginger in it, which I didn't really notice when I was drinking it a lot, but when I go back to it now, all I can taste is ginger. So if you like ginger teas, then this is definitely one for you, and I really actually like the orange flavour in this, which is weird because who would think that orange tea would be nice, but it is. So yeah, one for the ginger lovers perhaps. Then I have the last sort of fruit-based tea, which is the Twinings, excuse the lid there, the Twinings Cranberry and Blood Orange Tea. Now this is probably I'd say this is my all-time favourite tea that I've got at the moment. It's really nice. I got this because obviously on the back of the spiced orange tea, I wanted another tea that I could drink that had orange in it, but that wasn't so gingery. And this definitely meets that criteria. It's also nice because it's really flavoursome, like the Asda fruit teas, but it's got the cranberry in there, which kind of gives it this sharpness, whereas the certainly the rhubarb and custard tea from Asda, it's obviously not naturally sweet, but I have sugar in it anyway, but with the sugar in it, it is kind of like a dessert tea, I guess, whereas this has that little kick to it that's just a nice tang. So yeah, I really enjoy this one, although again it's quite pricey. I think it's like £2.50, whereas the Asda teas are like 79p, worth mentioning. And then I have got 2 Redbush teas. So I got this massive box of 80 from Asda because they didn't have any smaller ones. Redbush tea is actually naturally caffeine free, and it's really nice. I think a lot of people seem to be either love it or hate it with this, but I don't really see what there is not to like. To be honest, taste wise it's a lot like normal tea, only it's got a slightly more vanilla taste to it, I guess, but it's really nice. It is slightly sickly just because of that vanilla tinge, and even the smell is slightly sickly, but you know, I liked it. And then I've also got this Sainsbury's Taste the Difference Caramel Rooibos Infusion. Rooibos tea is for Redbush tea. These I like because they come in the posh little individual packets, so they're handy to take around with you. I have to say I don't drink this one much. It's probably the one that I would least turn to, just because it's got the Redbush thing and then add the caramel in there. But it is nice, and I find that this is a good one for guests. Seem to enjoy it, so there you go. So those are all my new teas that are all caffeine free. If you're interested in making a switch to caffeine free tea, then definitely give some of these a go. I specifically recommend the Asda ones just for value and taste, and they have also I think a mango one or a mango and something one anyway. So yeah, let me know down below if you have tried any of these teas, or if you have any other really fantastic caffeine free teas to recommend to me, and I will see you next time. Bye.